What's up YouTube? Danny Viner here. Um, I should probably explain first off that this video which I'm going to be shooting now is completely different to what I had originally intended. As you can tell from where I'm sitting, this was going to be a review, personal thoughts on an object. It was going to be on Lego again, but after thinking on it I decided to not go ahead with my original idea, mostly due to the fact that there's really not a lot I can say review-wise, because there are people on YouTube who do far better Lego reviews on actual sets. Fully opened up and everything together. So if you really want to look for these, I recommend going to watch Jangbricks or Just Too Good, because they'll give you far better reviews of individual sets than what I could possibly do in this video. So instead, I'm going to give my personal thoughts on a particular series that has just recently come out and I think has greater potential than I originally thought it did. I'm of course referring to LEGO's Hidden Side series. Oh boy. I first heard of this roughly at the beginning of the year, but when I originally heard of it, I heard nothing but negative critiques about it for the most part, and the main thing came from this was an app playable game. In other words, it utilised what all kids are basically into nowadays, where they have like special app games they download to their phones and they basically play with their toys that way. When I first heard that that was supposed to be the official gimmick, I thought, nah, this series probably isn't going to be too good. And early pictures of it at the time, where just tinkering things and it's just changing things on the app, I just thought, if that's the gimmick, then do you know what I mean? It's not really much to be interested in. Then a few months ago, more pictures came up and explained that the Hidden Side series was ghost themed, and that piqued my interest, mostly due to the fact that I think in the department of Lego, the haunted the area of like the supernatural has always been one that has fascinated me the most. Now I'm not saying, this is the first time that Lego has gone down, pardon me, a bit of gas today. This is not the first time that Lego has gone down the supernatural route, as they've done it many times in the past. Back in 2002 they released the Lego Studio series, which had several sets of the biggest sets that were fashioned around the famous movie monsters of Universal. So they had Frankenstein, Dracula, the werewolf, and they were decent sets, and they had pretty good minifigures at the time. Very the most customizable you probably get. And then of course there was in 2012 there was the highly popular Monster Fighter series, which I'm actually very disappointed Monster Fighters only lasted for one wave, and then that was it, it was gone. Have you seen some of the sets on the Monster Fighters wave? They were some of the most creepy, like haunted sets you could probably get your hands on at the time. And they even had very unique figures at the time, mostly zombies, vampires and all that, but they were really good for what they were. Another one I can also credit as being in that horror department, although it did it more in the fun way, was the Scooby-Doo line from 2013, which once again only lasted for one wave. Why did it only last one wave? It doesn't make any sense. And apparently my mum has just woken up. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to make her a cup of tea. I'm back. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh yeah, so like the Scooby-Doo variety was from 2013. Obviously it was kid friendly, it was based on the actual animated show of the time. But for what it was, it also did quite spooky sets, and I appreciate that. The sad thing really about both Monster Fighters and the Scooby-Doo line was that I never had enough money at the time to even purchase either of these sets, mostly due to the fact I was more interested in the superheroes line at the time, so there you go, there's the problem. But yeah, when I heard that the Hidden Side was actually based more on, obviously, the supernatural department, gosh, I've got so much gas this morning. This is why, I shouldn't be drinking stuff like this so bloody early. Anyway, but when I heard that they actually were going down the Ghost route for this series, my interest was piqued, to say the least. I thought, okay, I'll have a look, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll be getting any of these particular sets. Then finally they came out and I got to see the actual builds themselves and actually thought, bloody hell, these are actually good looking sets. I mean, even to take an example of this rather bigger one right here, I mean, you look at the design. I mean, obviously this is just the actual art. I have to give it props. The boxes on these are quite nice. The actual front art and how they do it, that's really neat. And obviously they put the figures you can earn on top right there. Although they also put a little ghost figure here located in a smartphone app because it's an exclusive character to the smartphone game, which is sold separately and is free. They don't charge you for that. But I mean, you look at these actual builds. For instance, this is the Shrimp Shack Attack. The actual build itself, for what it is, looks really neat. It looks like something you could actually put not just in like the department of like a haunted location, but also you could probably fit it into any proper Lego city, because it seems to work in that kind of way. Not to mention the fact that Lego, despite it being a completely new series, obviously, Lego clearly has put, some thought into the series. The idea of this series, following with the idea that, this looks like the kind of thing they'll probably at some point down the line make into a TV series, like what they did for Ninjago and Nexo Knights for the time being. Speaking of that, that's actually probably one thing they were inspired by when they came up with the Hidden Side, and that was the fact that Nexo Knights, as you probably will remember, also utilised an app function. And this was mostly this was of course their shields, as every one of the shields came with unique Nexo powers, which you could scan with your phone, and it would trigger a power inside the actual game that you could purchase for your smartphone. Clever, I'll give it that. But really, that was all it was. Pay feature-wise, it only worked for the app. Whereas the app system for the Hidden Side is an AR series, so obviously it's augmented reality. And it's clever, really, because while I haven't really played it, I've actually seen quite a bit of footage for it. But the actual design of the artificial augmented reality works rather well, especially with the sets, which is a very good positive to the fact that you can just build the set, scan it with the actual app, and it will appear, and all the rest gets built in from the game, which I have to give props. That's actually very, very good. So what else is there to talk about the Hidden Side? Well, as I said, the sets themselves seem to work so well, not only on their own, but could work, like I said, very well in the LEGO Cities line. I mean, to date there are 8 sets, and this is Series 1. Yes, I checked this online. Apparently this is the first series. So apparently they're clearly going to be doing a lot more. So there's a plus there. They're actually going to try and create more of these rather creepy sets. And while they're based around one particular area, which is obviously meant to be ghosts, I can give it positives for that. As at the moment in time, it doesn't seem to be a series that's going to jump between multiple, evil threats. Very similar to what Ninjago does. After all, how many threats can you possibly name from the Ninjago series? Series 1, the threat was Garmadon and his skeleton army. The second series, it was the Great Devourer and the Serpentines and all the snakes. The third one, it was the Robo Ninjas. The Elements, number 4, the Tournament of the Elements. It's ridiculous. And then the fifth one, I think it was the Ghosts. You see what I mean? It's like every one of Ninjago series, they changed their villains around. They completely gave you new villains. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming that's probably why Ninjago is still, to date, the longest going of, the LEGO properties out there. I mean, hell, even the TV series is still going, for God's sake. More than can be said for some of their other ones, like Shima, which only lasted, I think, 2 to 3 seasons, and Nexo Knights, which only lasted, I think, 2 seasons. Which is disappointing, really, because I liked Nexo Knights. Chima, and even Chima, but they were overshadowed completely by Ninjago. So I'm hoping, this series doesn't get overshadowed by anything else. But really, what's going on in the Hidden Side? So that's actually talk on the actual LEGO's inbuilt story for the Hidden Side. The series of the Hidden Side focuses around the main character of who comes in every figure, every set, which is Jack Davis, a 13-year-old who moves to his new town of Newborough, a nice sleepy town. However, Newborough's Hidden Side, which is a spine-chilling realm of ghosts, is attempting to take over the town. So, with the help of his best friend Parker and the genius scientist JB, who has created an app which allows them to see the Hidden Side and combat the ghosts there, they must go about and save the town of Newbury before the ghosts take over. Simple enough. In fact, when I actually read the idea that, this genius scientist, who I actually have to give props that the actual scientist, JB, has got to be one of the actual cool looking minifigures I've actually seen. In fact, now that I look at it, all of the minifigures, no matter, even for as simple as they are, you can tell just by looking at the pictures on them that they're clearly very well designed figures. They've all got unique designs to them, which helps to create unique personalities. Hell, even like this larger set, even for the figures you see there, you just look at them and you're like, wow, those are actually pretty detailed figures. Oh, and I have to point this out. What the hell is Pepper from Lego Island doing in this series? Apparently the set calls him Ronnie, but look at that figure, and take a picture of that figure I just showed you, and compare it to the main character called Pepper from Lego Island, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's him. End of discussion. You can call him what you want. I'm sorry. It's Pepper. But sorry, I've got off topic. I had to get that out there. But you see, this is the problem. I get off topic and then I completely forget what I'm talking about. But anyways, I love the idea. Obviously you've got the genius sides and all this. In fact, when I heard about the idea that they're using an actual app built into their smartphones, considering that all of the main characters actually come with these little smartphone brick pieces, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Ghostbusters, which I absolutely love, because I loved the series of Ghostbusters when I was a kid. I loved the films. I don't hate on the new film, the one with the full female cast, because hell, I actually got the Ecto-1 from both the original series and the newer one. Because that's how much I love Ghostbusters. So the idea of a series that kind of has a very similar ghostbusting feel, except they're actually using their phone apps to zap ghosts, as well as see and zap the ghosts, I quite like. So, yeah, I feel that this is a series that has good potential. I really do. I look at many of the builds. The good thing is that this series is also covering many of the types that we consider with, like, ghost towns. For instance, you got the Shrimp Shack, which is kind of like a little location on the pier. That could be considered haunted, like a haunted pier. The mad scientist's lab, the ghost ship, a haunted old school. They cover so many different varieties. Even a graveyard, for God's sake. This series actually does have a pretty cool looking graveyard set, so you got to give it props there. So, all in all, I feel, like I said, this is a series that I feel is going to go far. I really do hope that The Hidden Side doesn't turn out to be like this small little series that ends up lasting for just a short while and then it's just completely forgotten about. And I'm kind of hoping in some way that while I'm interested in its interactive, augmented reality app, I'm hoping that the app itself will not become the distinctive selling point of the series, even though at the moment it clearly is. But because if you look at the sets for what they are, minus the app ability, they are good sets. They look great, they have great playability and functionality, and I really do hope that the series continues to be enjoyable. especially considering that, well, we have 8 sets at the moment, and like I said, we've also got apparently a new wave coming sometime next year. I hope they continue to go down this rather creepy line and cover so many more areas. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was my personal thoughts. My personal feelings towards this new series. As I said, I am sorry that I am not opening these sets and reviewing them as I usually would do. But if you really want to see these sets opened up and reviewed for every little bit, go check out Just Too Good or Jang Bricks on you. You can find them easily on YouTube. I watch these guys all the time. They're both great, and they'll give you their own personal rundowns on these sets. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video.